I decided I wasn't going to play Path of Exile 1 this league, and there are a couple reasons for that. And I decided to sit down and really think about why I'm not playing this game that I've loved since 2019. The first time I sat down to play Path of Exile 1, I said, oh my goodness. Tomorrow night, I'm getting on. I'm going to play for a couple of hours, finish up the quests I was doing. Went to college the next day, got home from college, sat down at 9 p.m., played, looked over at the clock, and it was 6 a.m.
Oh no!
I literally have never had that happen before. Played Dota 2, Guild Wars 2, Dungeons & Dragons Online, Age of Mythology, Diablo 2. Nothing had grasped me like the first Path of Exile when I was 21 years old. Sitting in my apartment, alone, ready to just try out a new game. I knew nothing about this game, no guides, no tutorials. I just went in, played, loved it. I was a witch, and I just took what came. I had no idea what I was doing. I had an absolute blast. So why am I not playing Path of Exile 1 this particular league? I distilled it down to 4 core reasons. I want to see if this resonates with you guys in chat. Because obviously, you know, Path of Exile 2 stream, a lot of you guys might not be playing Path of Exile 1. If you aren't because of one of these reasons, let me know. Or a different one, just let me know in the chat, you guys. So I'm going to save the biggest one for last, and I think it may mirror the reason of a lot of you guys. So one of the reasons is because it's just too close to the Path of Exile 2 release for me. Absolute props to Grinding Your Games for releasing within schedule, but Path of Exile 2 0.5 patch came out on May 29th. That means that 3.29 came out less than 2 months after that. Okay? That is a lot of ARPG blasting. I know this is the dream for a lot of people, but after playing like 100 hours in this Path of Exile 2 league, I don't know, I couldn't fathom going from one ARPG to the next. And I know a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, well, I want to go from PoE2 to PoE1 to Last Epoch to Diablo 4 for a day to Torchlight Infinite to Grim Dawn expansion, back to PoE2, and then just cycle through it. And you really like this season-based mentality. But I feel like I'd burn out if I play all these different ARPGs at once. So I think I see myself as picking the best from the bunch. And I do think the best for me personally is Path of Exile 2. And what feeds into this is my second reason. Path of Exile 2 and Path of Exile 1 are very, very similar games at this point, guys. I'm not kidding. If just try this out. Go to Twitch after this stream. Don't leave my stream to do this. Go to Twitch and turn on a Path of Exile 1 endgame stream. Tell me that if you watch Fubgun blasting in PoE2 and Fubgun blasting in PoE1, that game doesn't look almost identical. The big differentiating factor is in the campaign, I think. Because I think in Path of Exile 1, you start zooming pretty quick in the campaign. I say midway through Act 1, once you got Quicksilver, once you got one movement ability, you start zooming through everything, right? Blowing up and stuff. Path of Exile 2, the ramp is a little bit different, but the games are so similar in terms of the play style. I can't go from blasting 100 hours in one game to then playing a very similar game, and I think that contributes to the ARPG burnout. My boss, you guys know my boss, he plays Path of Exile 2. Isn't that very lucky for me? He's never played Path of Exile 1 before. He got into Path of Exile 2 with 0.1. He has become, and he's okay with me saying this, an absolute degenerate gamer. All right? This guy makes as much currency as some of the top blasters. He found X the Farmer X when X the Farmer only had his first zero to mirror video out. He watches Fubgun, he watches Rutu, he watches Jungrone. He watches all these guys, right? And he told me today, you know, I was watching some PoE1 streams, you know, just to see what it's like. And I know basically what's going on. It almost looks like identical games at this point. And I've only ever played Path of Exile 2. I've never touched Path of Exile 1. And these look like they're similar games. I know exactly what this guy's doing, what he's farming for. A lot of the unique items are very similar between the two games. And I totally agree with him. I feel like they're too similar for me to just keep going back. I feel like if they would have went in diverging paths, I probably would have been playing 3.29 if it weren't for these last two reasons, okay? Reason number 3, I think I'm getting a little old. I just have less time to dedicate to the games. And like I said, I'm gonna choose the one that is best for me, especially when the releases are so close together. And I really don't wanna burn myself out. But I'm also getting old, so my body is failing me. And I think this is actually, I'd put the other totals, a sum of 50% of the reason why I'm not playing, okay? And then this last thing is the other 50% of why I'm not playing this Path of Exile 1 League. Because I haven't actually told many people this, but I gave in and I tried the league out. Not on launch day, but on day 2. I was alone at home those days. I didn't play PoE1 on launch day. Me of 5 years ago would have called blasphemy, but it's true. Logged on day 2 and I gave it 15 minutes and I logged out. And the biggest reason why I'm not playing is because there's no WASD. I am not being facetious. This is totally real. There are so much is packed into that, you guys. I didn't realize how bad it was until I swapped back to maining a game where you use WASD, because I played Guild Wars 2 for the longest time, Dungeons and Dragons Online. And these games are MMOs and they have WASD movement. That's not click to move. Okay. Even Dota 2, which I played 7,000 hours of, I didn't use my mouse to move my character. I had hotkeys to move my character, so I wasn't hurting my wrist that much. And I was much younger when I was absolutely fiending Dota 2. I remember the past 2 leagues I played Path of Exile 1, I started getting wrist pain. I'm 29 years old. Started getting legitimate wrist pain when I played. I played less than 2 weeks of Mirage. I played a lot of Mirage. I played like 30 hours or 35 hours in 2 weeks. I got 36 challenges, but my wrist was so painful. I have no wrist pain playing Path of Exile 2 at all. And it's because of WASD. If you're a Path of Exile 2 only gamer and you're wondering what the heck are you talking about, in Path of Exile 1, it is click to move. Okay? You click to move your character, you click to pick up items, you click to sort your inventory, you have to click on, you spam a lot of currency, so you're constantly clicking, you're clicking. You use this hand so much more than in Path of Exile 2, and it has a wear on you. A physical wear on me, at least. And maybe I'm weak. Okay, I try, I exercise, I eat right, drink a lot of water. I'm healthy, but it literally, a game gave me pain, okay? And I'm not even joking, I was already starting to feel it in like 15 minutes, okay? And then the other part of that is it feels so much clunkier than WASD. It takes some getting used to, and I bet if I just push through it, I would be fine, but it just feels so much worse using your mouse to click. It just feels antiquated. And I think that this probably resonates with a lot of people, especially a lot of people who played PoE2 first, tried PoE1, right? And even some people who played PoE1 loved it like me, and then went to PoE2 and tried to go back to PoE1. It's hard to get used to that type of movement again. And I found myself just thinking, you know what, this is not worth it, okay? And so I say GGG. I think it's already too far gone on the whole games being too similar. I think they're just gonna be very similar at the end of the day. I think that the league release cadence, if I would have it my way, I might swap that up a little bit. I know that's definitely controversial, but hey, if I was emperor of ARPGs, I would probably have the releases be a little bit further apart. That's just me. But I do know, grinding your games, if you add WASD to Path of Exile 1, I think a heck of a lot more people are going to try it. And I might even pick it back up again because it might be like a comfort game. Okay, I go back to Dungeons and Dragons Online pretty commonly. I'm playing it right now with my brother. That's like my comfort game. I bet that would be the comfort game for a lot of people if it was non-painful to play. And I know Path of Exile 1 is making strides in that direction. They just made an excellent change to do with sockets and colors of sockets. That was beautiful. I think WSD is still the biggest bang for your buck change that you can make. And I know that you said the animations are a big deal and you got to redo all the rigs to make this happen. Diablo 4 did it in a season. Last Epoch did it in a season. Rigs be damned. I would just implement it. I would just shoot it in. You ship 75% baked league mechanics sometimes, and sometimes maybe loot's a little broken. It looks like damage calculations might be off. Maybe that's just streamers, maybe that's just Reddit. I don't know. I would ship it. Who cares about the animations? I would implement just the way. I know that you can't move while attacking, but just being able to move with WASD, I think would do wonders. And I know there's mods and hacks, and somebody was talking about me getting a foot pedal. No. I think just adding WASD would be a mega win, and it's hard to go back. In fact, I can't go back, and Path of Exile 2 is the reason I'm done with PoE1 right now. That's just the truth. I'll probably give it a go in 3.30 after ExileCon, because you always do. I gave in. I told myself I wasn't even going to log in to 3.29. I did. I only lasted 15 minutes. And that's not a long time. 15 minutes is not long, you guys. That was okay. So that's it. That's why I'm not playing PoE1 right now. What do you guys think?